Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. So today we're gonna do kind of a tutorial slash color and chat in Magical Dawn. We're gonna be using this collage in the background. And I'll be doing it on this picture right here. I thought of it I had this idea to like have a collage in the background, but there was this dilemma of having all these different papers creating bumpiness for the other side, and I could use like water media or something like Intense or watercolor pencils, but and watercolor paints, but then I realized that I had this collage that I made and I had it scanned, and it's actually in my Etsy shop. And this would like super dramatically make that a lot easier, plus faster, plus it's like already ready to go. Now I will say my printer is being really weird, and all this neon orange is supposed to be like black and brown, so I don't know what's going on. But just really fast, I'll show you what I did so far. So I took a normal piece of copy paper and I traced where I wanted the background, you know, just behind the bottle. And then I cut it out with an X-Acto knife. And then on here, and then after that I cut the paper to size of the coloring book, so that I could have the right dimensions, and then decided where I wanted the collage on the background to kind of be. And then after that, flipped it over because I wanted to trace it on this side just to keep it cleaner. So I traced it on this side, and the reason I flipped it is because after you cut it and you flip it over to the right side, the image will be in the right spot. So then I put this about where I wanted it, and then place this over that so I could have the lines for where to cut for the edges, and then took this off, traced, and then traced these parts. And I just realized this did not trace all the way, so just gotta make sure that is supposed to be straight line. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is take my X-Acto knife and cut this out, and then we'll go from there. So let me get my white that I cut on. Alright, make sure we're all situated here. Boom. Okay, so I won't be as chatty right now just because this part is going to take a lot of concentration. But the reason I'm cutting with an X-Acto knife is the line is more precise that way, and there's some like detailed lines. If it were a more simple outline, am I cutting out the right part? Sorry, I just had to think for a second. So these little bits I'm gonna keep because they are part of the background. So actually, yeah, I'm gonna set this aside over here on the side. But yeah, you could use scissors if it was a simpler shape, for sure. Yeah. But if you do end up needing to use an X-Acto knife, I would recommend using a nice sharp blade. Otherwise you're gonna be doing a lot of hacking, sawing, and it won't be as smooth, so that when you go to glue it down, it'll give you problems. Okay, so I'm cutting out these tiny little bits for the background first, just because this part is like really fragile and I don't want to deal with it bending when I'm trying to cut. Okay. I really should have chosen a more simple silhouette, but this will be good for showing that you can do more complicated stuff. I've never done this before in a coloring book. Okay, so there's that piece. Alright, now I'll cut out this main part. I'm gonna do these really. This is like the string on the drawing. Okay. And it's okay to take your time, because you make one wrong move and you have to start all over again. Excuse me. So the reason I'm not showing the rest of my coloring book collection today, which is what I planned on doing, is because I have a couple books on the way that I want to show in that part. So it'll come hopefully later this week, but we'll see. It kind of depends on how long Amazon takes, because they are print-on-demand books. So sometimes those take a little they take a little while. Also, make sure that, oh, I gotta get right here. Cut that. I would say the hardest part is the curvy stuff, because you just can't make a knife curve as smoothly. Okay, there we go. I'm actually really excited for this. And so once I get this cut out, I should just be able to glue it down right away. But I realized that I should be using my PVA glue. That would like work best. It's a glue that's designed for being used in book making and book binding, so it's like a flexible glue. But that is, I can't remember where my big bottle of it is, and my other container of it is in my son's room, and he is napping. It's in the dresser that we have in there. But it's not the end of the world for me to use Mod Podge. Because, well, PVA glue isn't as accessible, and it's kind of pricey, because it is a archival glue as well. Okay, I'm getting there. Now we just like have mostly straight lines, which are quite a lot easier. Hopefully this works, because that would be really awesome. I should have grabbed the original collage so you could see more of what it looks like, but I'll stick the link to where it is in my Etsy in the description box so you can kind of get a better idea of what it looks like. But I figured that this, well, for one, I didn't want to, like, I think what I need is more black ink, even though there's still ink in the cartridge. But I figured it would work, or this print would work for what I'm doing. I can still, and the neon is kind of cool, but it is kind of a bummer that it didn't turn out, because it's kind of like a very vintagey collage, I would say, because this is like a sculpture and this was a vintage stamp. Okay. Yeah, so once I get this cut out, I'll be able to talk a little bit more. So when you're cutting or drawing straight lines without a ruler, it's easier to get a straight line that you're looking for if you move your arm and not your wrist or just your hand, but it also just takes a lot of practice. And I find when I like draw straight lines or cut straight lines, I like hold my breath until I get it cut. And I just like watch the line. Okay, and this part is a little fiddly as well. And I'm just gonna make sure that's cut through all the way. Yep, right. Just tiny little cuts. Yeah, that's more like triangular than rounded. That came up. Wow, I find when I do like little detail work like this, I just like grip whatever I'm using with an iron fist like this. I'm gripping so hard, but I shouldn't. I ought not to. Okay. Almost there. And then I'll take out my ruler for cutting the edges after we dry fit it. And now I realize I probably didn't have to make these marks because I can just make them when I put this on the book to make sure it worked. That's a little jaggedy. That's okay. It's nothing a little glue won't take care of. Smoothing down. Nice. The reason I chose this over something else is this has a lot of nice straight lines, whereas there are other pictures that have good balance between positive and negative space, but hey, that's really cool. But they were more organic lines. I wanted something for the first time doing this to be more geometric. Okay, so I'm gonna fit this in here, stick it in that crack, make sure it all goes in there right. Okay, so it's not perfect, but that looks really good. And this is gonna be tight in there. See, I think the wackiest part is right here. What's going on? I don't know. Let's see. Okay. I'm just gonna make a little cut right there, I think. And I didn't, before I start having a heart attack, I didn't cut, I just like traced a little bit. So I'm just gonna do a little cut and hopefully that did not mess it up. Okay, that's better. I'll just go in with pencil in some of these other parts, like that white part right there. But it's looking good. And then these spaces, I have the other pieces for still. Okay, so now I've got to mark my lines as to where to cut the page. And where did my pencil go? I swear I just had it. This always happens. I bet it's underneath. No. What in the world? I will just use a different color pencil. Okay, so the edge is right here. So I'm going to mark that. Oops, sorry about the camera. Okay. Press right. So I'm just pressing to find where the edge of the paper is, and then marking that while holding this in place. Okay, sorry, that took a little bit of concentration. Oh no. Oh, I was like, I can't find the lines that I marked right there. I didn't need to mark any lines right there. Oh man, it's one of those days. Okay, so I'm gonna take my ruler and I'm gonna see. Yeah, I think that looks alright. If there's too much overhang, then when I finish gluing it down, wait a second, that's not straight. Let me see here. Okay, so that's more straight. If there's more overhang in any places, then I'll trim it after I glue it down. Oh, I guess I can always just go like this too. Just to double check. Oh, it's the wrong way. It's the wrong way. Yeah, let's see here. So yeah, this mark was crooked. I'm glad I checked that. And then let's get this straightened out. Put that mark there. That mark there. Yeah, so this one and this one. Okay. And then slice. And if this does not work, if it fails hardcore, then we'll just have learned from that. Let's see. Is that okay? That's right on that line. Okay. Let's check this out. I think this will be fun. Okay, so yeah, that fits just right on there. Alright. Now here's the tricky thing. I need to glue it in here, but it's not really going down super well. Okay. So I think I might start gluing from this way and then work my way in. Otherwise, I don't think it's going to work very well. Because I need to be able to see where it lines up. Okay, so what I'll do is take this corner and glue it down on this edge right here, and then add more glue as I go. And you'll kind of see how I do that. And this is a technique that I learned in bookmaking, making books, that helps you get a large, complicated piece of paper down. So this is just Mod Podge, just because I need something to glue. And then this is my nice big brush, a bristle brush. Okay. So I want to glue on this edge. So I'm gonna take this piece of paper because I don't want it to get glue on the board that I'm using so that it makes a mess on my book. So I'll just paint along, paint the glue like this. Paint it on like that. Whew, that smells. Okay. Then I just kind of place the lid on without twisting. Okay, let me grab my book. This is going to be a little tricky. Okay, so here's the edge of my paper. And the nice thing about Mod Podge is it doesn't glue it dry as fast as like the PVA glue I'm used to. So it's a little bit more forgiving. So what I'm going to do is line this up right here. And then make sure it goes on here where it's supposed to. Like that. And I don't have my bone folder either to help smooth this down, so I'll just use the side of my hand to smooth that down. Right there. Alright, so now I'll lift this and get my glue back. Put glue down. Well, that's a lot. You don't want too much on the edge or else it'll goop out. You just want a little bit. And for this edge, I'm just going to paint on the paper because I don't want to get glue on my untouched drawing, picture, illustration. Okay. Put some glue on there. And down in there. I'm trying to work fast so that this doesn't dry too much. Okay, so just gonna put this back down. Make sure I put it down in place. And look at that, it fits perfectly. That is awesome. It does kind of go over some of the lines, but that's okay. Now, I'm gonna do this skinnier one right here, the skinny section. Get more glue. Okay, I probably got too much glue on there, so I'm gonna pull that off. This is definitely a little bit more on the messy side. All right. There we are. Oh, look at that. That makes me so happy. Okay, so now I'm gonna get this part right here, and then we'll paint this paper. Sorry, this takes like a lot of concentration, so I'm not gonna talk too much right here. Okay, so let's put this down. There we go. Smooth that down. Okay, I gotta get this part in here. Gonna paint the edges. There's a lot of glue right there. Alright. Okay. So I'm just putting glue down, not quite in the spine, because I'll put some on the edge of the paper, because I don't want this side to get glue on it. And okay, now I'm going to get the edge, and you want to work pretty quickly, but not so quickly that you get glue in the wrong spot. And the first time you do this, it'll probably take you a lot longer than it took me, but I've had a lot of practice gluing down paper with how many books that I've made. Okay, so let's see, I gotta lift this because it's like buckling up. That's not good. Come here. Be my friend. Okay. This is the non-pretty side of gluing down paper. Sometimes it doesn't always go down like a glove. Okay, so that's a little crumbly right there, but that's okay. It just becomes part of the aesthetic. Plus, this is just copy paper, so it's not gonna cause too much of an issue. Okay. But it also isn't as cooperative. There we go. That is awesome. Oh! What am I doing? I gotta glue these little guys down. Okay, so this one goes right here. That. And I'm gonna have to go in with like a pencil or something to get the white spaces. Where's a glue stick when you need one? Oops. Okay. So I'll just try to get this lined up as well as I can. Alright. There's that one. And then I think this one goes in next. This part is so fiddly. So it's best if you can find a picture that doesn't have so many tiny background spaces. Where's my tweezers? I have tweezers from diamond painting. That's funny. They come in handy. There we go. Okay, get paint on this one. Grab my tweezers. Oh, my hand is shaking. My hand always shakes when I do tiny stuff. Or like stuff with tweezers. And voila! It's not perfect, but that worked pretty well. And that took a lot longer than I anticipated, but that's gonna be awesome. So what I plan on doing is pulling colors, or what do you think? Because I'm trying to decide, because I want to keep this color scheme really simple because of all the colors here. So I'm thinking of pulling some of the colors that I have in the collage and using those in the bottle. Or should I like make it a very, you know, like kind of like this where it's like sepia and brown and black, you know, something very toned down, or should I pull colors? And there's a little bit of glue. So I have a little bit of overhang right here, but not too bad. I can just stick a piece of cardboard underneath and trim that off with an X-Acto knife and a ruler. So yeah, I hope this kind of gave you some kind of inspiration on how you can do a unique background and something very different. And I will put the link for this particular collage below. It does look a little different than how it printed, but still pretty good. Yeah, isn't that just so cool? And I thought the colors in this collage were perfect for like, you know, magical kind of theme that this book has. So we will get into coloring this part in later in the week. But thanks so much for watching this video. If you enjoyed it, found it helpful, hit the like button, and if you aren't already, subscribe. And I hope to see you next time. Happy coloring!